Grab your seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and Kerr bringing topics of all kinds, from cigars to sports, family and more. Everyday stories you'll want to explore. So take a puff or ponder away. Join the talk, it's the highlight of your day. Puff and ponder where the sparks ignite. Conversations blazing day or night. Tune in now, let the stories take flight. It's the Puff and Ponder podcast, where we get it right. From fast cars to last night's game, family laughs or today's big name. We've got the topics, we've got the vibe. Stay tuned in and enjoy the ride. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. Oh, hesitate.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast. Ooh, excuse me, where conversations ignite. Yeah, I took a big old swig of my Diet Coke there. I'm your host, Kevin Shahan. Join me, as always, my co-host, Kerr Viajante. Kerr, speaking of my Diet Coke with lime coming back. What?
Terrible.
What's terrible?
Diet Coke with lime.
Oh yeah, have you never had it? They got
I
rid
have
of
had it. It was terrible. It was the best decision ever made. It tasted like freaking Fruity Pebbles. Terrible.
No, are you sure you're not talking about the Diet Coke with ginger lime?
Oh no, I'm talking about Diet Coke with lime. I've had it.
Oh no, they got rid of that, and then they came out with all the new stupid flavors like ginger lime and the cherry whatever, and Diet Coke with lime was the best.
Yeah, I remember old school. Like I said, I had it, did not like it. I thought it tasted like Fruity Pebbles.
Oh my god!
I got my Trash Panda shirt on tonight.
Oh, right on. I got I got my Sinistro shirt there. And,
well, my angle and stuff. I need my Trash Pandas on my shoulders or something. But, yeah. No, I remember that drink and it was terrible.
I think you're misremembering.
No, I don't think so. I think I'm remembering just fine because I remember it tasting like Fruity Pebbles. It was horrible. So,
well, you're wrong. So we'll move on from that.
That's fine. Our first disagreement. We'll agree. We'll agree to disagree. We'll agree that I misremembered that, and it's great. You can take that clip. It's great.
Yeah. So how's things going?
Let's go, man. What are you smoking tonight?
Actually, I'm finishing up a cigar from Casa 1910 in honor of our great friend Hector Becerra. He recently, as of last week, departed Quesada Cigars as the national sales manager. He has moved over to Casa 1910. The newly appointed national sales director, Jeremy Fondy, is moving over to like product development. So super excited. Those are two great guys, good friends of mine. Excited to see where Casa 1910 is going to go from here, because they are making some fantastic cigars. And then I'm going to move over to a JC Newman Bricktoberfest 2025. Remember, if you go into any Bricktoberfest retailer, get 10 Bricktoberfest cigars, get a free Stein. I was at a Corona Cigar in Sarasota today after my testing, and I'm like, oh, hey, how's the Steins going? And they're like flying off the shelves. People are loving the new cigar. loving the Stein. So
I'm
get
gonna
them
go
before
check
they're
out
gone.
Boda. I'm gonna go check out Boda and get some. But JC Newman, send me a fucking sign, please. Just send me a sign. That's all, man. I'm not
Yeah,
asking for free cigars. I'm not a
yeah,
beggar. I'm not. I've never begged. Just send me a sign. That's it. That's all I'm asking for.
yeah. We're going there in a couple of weeks for their the haunted tour.
Yeah.
Go to JC Newman. So
Yeah.
we're super excited on that. So
I don't want
yeah,
haunted tour tickets. I don't want to sit in a super box and smoke cigars and watch hockey. Well, actually, I do want to do that. I'm just saying, but
yeah,
I do lie. I'm actually
yeah.
smoking the last Vigilante that I have in my my Big Sky.
Oh, right on. I got to
Right.
crack that case open. Crack those open that you gave us.
We're good.
So
We're
yeah,
real. Oh my god, yeah, it's just great flavor. So, Kevin, I'll tell you what. I'm really hoping, which I doubt, that we will get into politics tonight. But I got to start off with football. I have
yeah,
to.
yeah. This time of year, we've always got to start off with a little, at
Have
least a
to.
little college football. Yeah, it was.
Have to. With what went on Saturday. Oh, great football games. I mean, Oregon beat Penn State. Yes.
Yeah, and they dropped a lot further than I thought they
Oh,
would.
they dropped right where they should be, even a little
Yeah,
bit further. Oregon popped up to number 2. Penn State's at number 7. Ohio State's still number 1. I heard somebody smoking some pipe dream or doing a pipe dream saying that Oregon would pump the number 1. I'm like, no. Miami. Miami's at the top.
yeah,
Who's number 3?
yeah,
And Ole Miss at number 4. Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. 4, 5, 6. When's the last time those were
yeah.
up?
I know. And Ohio State's still undefeated. They did have a bye week. You can't count that against them in the rankings. So so they they don't have as many wins, but they're still defending champs. They still until someone knocks them off, they're still unless it was like a super close game, like a 3-point game, maybe you could see them go down to like number 2, but they still finished strong against Washington. So I was glad to see Oregon handily defeat. Not handily. It was kind of a close game there for a while.
Yeah, it was. They did Georgia. Georgia lost.
Yeah.
Georgia took a dive too. They're ranked number 12. And what game was it that I was telling you about? Georgia Tech, was it?
Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, wasn't it?
Wake Forest, yeah.
Yeah. What a great game. I saw the recaps of that. What a great game.
Robbed.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech. I mean, listen, we learn the first thing they tell you, any good coach will tell you, don't let the game be that close that a bad call loses the game for you.
I know.
Just don't. That's the way you handle it. You freaking trounce someone soundly. But that guy, the dude from Georgia Tech, was so far offside. He was in the backfield. I mean, it was pretty bad.
I don't know how they missed it, man. They came out the next day. They came out Sunday and said, "Yeah, that was our bad."
that would have been the game. That would have been the game. But you know what? You let something like that get in your head and they end up losing the game, which was a tough one. But and they were in Wake too. You couldn't blame it on being in Georgia. They were up in North Carolina. But God Almighty, did you see the fans start coming down because they thought the game was over? Like they were getting ready to rush the field. And when that guy jumped off sides, it was like, even I was watching, I was like, oh shit, that's the game. There's no flag. I'm like, there's no what?
Yeah.
Like Stevie Wonder saw that was offsides, man. That was way offsides. Nope. Well, good football though, and
I was being as a someone that played football. I was watching a video earlier, and it was from I think there's the Barstool Sports guys, if I'm not mistaken. They were talking about like something they'd like to see: different colored flags, offensive flag versus defensive flag. Because it was something. It was a kickoff return, flag got thrown. Guys like, oh hey, they're going to call it back anyways. End up being on the other side. It could have kept going.
No,
you don't want to see different colored flags.
No, I don't. I don't want to see any. It's it's funny. First of all, no, that's stupid. Secondly, they were talking about what was the game the other night? I was watching the Commanders game. I was watching a little bit of it, and they were down, by 10. So they moved ball down. They kicked the field goal. They were going to take 3 points. They're close enough because hey, we do an onside kick, and they're like, yeah, the NFL is still trying to figure this out because there's the conversion rate of onside kicks are low. I'm like, well, yeah, no shit. You've taken the excitement, you've taken the surprise, you've taken the energy out of the game. And I saw John Gruden going off the other day about all these injuries that are going on. He's like, look at all the injuries, the quarterbacks, the receivers. He said, you don't practice. If you do make them practice, you can get fired. You can't wear pads when you practice. He start rattling off all the shit that the rules are all set right now. Between the league, the league representatives. And he's like, with all these extra provisions, there's still a lot of injuries going on.
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, we used to talk about it. There's a difference between playing hurt and playing injured. And I can't speak to the guys in the NFL, obviously, you premier athletes, but to see this many injuries and just the way that the game's changed, like you sent me that thing the other day for the guy from Oakland. He's like, we had a guy who used to tape us up. I know.
Broke thumb for 4 years.
I told you I did the same thing. I had him right here, and I was like, yeah, I had two bad thumbs for 3 years, and oof.
Yeah, it reminds me of drag racing. For years, the NHRA kept all these new rules. We got to slow them down. We got to slow them down and make things safer. Every time they slowed them down, the guys went faster. Let's do this. We went faster. Let's do this. It went faster. Same with the NFL. They're getting involved. Hey, we need to do this, this, and this. And then you just wonder if they're ever consulting like the players or like the personal trainers or the coaches. Like they come out with these rules. And I know Roger Goodell. Yeah, I know Roger Goodell just can't make these rules really. Well, I mean, some he can, but are they consulting these guys? Because they'll be like, hey, that's dumb.
Well, they have the players' union that they got to consult. They got to talk with those guys. Talk to the owners because they're all part of that whole conglomerate. And at the end of the day, I think they're all taking a step back and saying, okay, look at. I read about the other day about Tony Dorsett, CTE,
Yeah.
But I mean, I know that when you have some of the older players where they weren't making the big money, it's really tough to watch because they don't have anything, but I've always felt that when it comes to professional sports, it's it's a hazard. It's a hazard of the game.
Yeah.
It's the same when you look at farmers, see farmers missing hands, busted up, freaking, legs and whatever. Well, you're around farming equipment all day. You're working 12, 14, 16-hour days, whatever you're doing. It's, you're working around heavy machinery. That's the hazard of the profession. And I think, the same thing when it comes to professional sports. I mean, you want to try and make it as safe as possible. But I think when you're really taking away, specifics from the game and even the overtime. I hate the whole overtime freaking setup.
Yeah. We had our first tie of the year.
There are no ties in football. It's so stupid.
What's that?
Ties. I can't wrap my head around some of this shit.
Yeah. Exactly. There shouldn't be any ties. A college football got away. I don't know. I don't think NFL on theirs. You can't because college got to go for 2 now on your second attempt, and which got rid of the ties and then sped the game up a little bit, But NFL, we had a fucking tie. What the fuck is that?
I don't know. That's
a tie game.
That's terrible. I'll tell you the Dallas game last night was pretty damn good.
Was it?
Oh yeah, it went to overtime. Tell you what, them and the Packers were just going back and forth, for a while, and at the end of the fourth quarter, and it was a very, very entertaining, very good game. I don't watch actually since we started doing a show. I probably watch more sports, so we have more to talk about. So like I did college football too, but
Yeah.
you know, I did get a chance to watch the end of the Chargers Giants game, and
Yeah, how that? I didn't catch that.
so
I forgot to record Sports Center today.
Giants won 21-18. Chargers first loss, Giants first win. I am not a Giants fan. However, I do like Scadaboo.
Yeah.
And he's a freaking monster. He ran for 79 yards again. And Jackson Dart, it was his first start in his rookie year.
Yeah, I didn't know he started. Oh, right on.
Yep, over Russell Wilson, who is
he injured or
no? I don't think so. I just think he's he sometimes he shows his awesome brilliance of a quarterback, and other times he just does stupid shit. Very inconsistent. And that's where he was in Denver and was just the same situation. But Jackson Dart got his first victory as a rookie, and they keep showing Jackson Dart's mom.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, I think she's going to become just as famous, if not. And then, so I'm like, I go down that rabbit hole, right? So I'm like, okay, great. And Kevin's like, oh man, she's good looking for being that old. I'm like, she's probably younger than me. Thanks, Kevin, you bastard. So then I start reading it, and Jackson's like, oh yeah, my mom, she's a fitness instructor. I draw. And he's got a great relationship with her, and he's like, I always call her and I ask her for some fashion advice because and I'm like, oh boy, Jackson. Watching you run the football and run over guys and put your head down was awesome. Now you're starting to tell me that you take fashion advice from your mother, buddy. Come on, man. You're in the backfield with Scadaboo, who's just, he's a monster. I don't want to hear about you and your mom.
I know. I was at Corona Cigar today, having a smoke after I did some ASE testing, and up on the screen I see Cam Newton. God. I mean, to be in a room with his collection of hats, that's gotta be. That's what when you said taking fashion advice. I'm like, here we go. Another Cam Newton.
That dude is off his rocker. I'll tell you what, man. He's exciting to watch. Great athlete. But when he starts talking about some of his comparisons of himself and other people, I'm like, all right, Cam.
Yeah, I like to go
cut another hole in that hat, because your head's getting a little too big for it, bro.
Yeah, they say his lounge in Atlanta is off the chain nice, but I don't know. He's out there.
Yeah, I'll take out there. I love Rodman. Rodman was out there.
Yeah,
I'll take that. But he's a little. I don't know.
He's very distracting when I can't even listen to him talk. Because of his outfit or his hat.
I know it's definitely he's definitely an interesting character. But I'll tell you what, when he played the football, he played the game, man. He caught some shit from people, but I'll tell you, I thought he was an exceptional football player. He was an exceptional athlete. He was really exciting to watch. Unlike the two football games tonight for Monday Night Football, which is going to be a real barn burner with the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's going to Jets, and that's always a rivalry. We got Jets and Dolphins and Patriots and Dolphins. It was always a big rivalry.
Yeah,
always went back and forth.
Tonight's Jets and Dolphins, Bengals and Broncos. So the big rivalry tonight, the back and forth is going to be who's going to get their first victory between the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah,
that's going to be a real big slobber knocker. Both 0-3. And then you have your Bengals Broncos, which the Bengals are 2-1, which are, I don't know, man. It's an ugly 2-1. And the Broncos are, they're still looks like they're still looking for. They got a victory there. The Broncos have one win under their belt, but man, I guess I don't even know if I want to watch it because what's his face is out. The quarterback, the Bengals. He's
Joe. Yeah, he's out for
his
months.
Toes all effed up, man. That's not good.
What do you think? What do you think about this one, Kerr? The Eagles fake tush push play.
You know what? I got to tell you, I followed the Eagles because usually a blackout. Like the Eagles Rams game, I couldn't get. I couldn't get the Eagles Buccaneers game. I didn't catch it on Sports Center. I thought I read something about it. I have to watch it because I didn't see it.
Yeah, neither did I.
I didn't see it, so I can't comment on it. But you know, I mean, I think the tush push should be illegal.
I agree.
I think it's the way, I guess, many eons ago, you could never help another player. You could assist a player in forward motion. You know, you could to gain forward ground. It was a penalty. You know, years ago.
Yeah.
That if you did that, you know, you'd get a penalty. So I don't think I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I don't care who runs it. If my favorite team in the world runs it, I'm not a fan of it. I just think it's. Listen, if that's the case, then let your front line dominate their front line and follow them in. If you need people pushing you from behind, it's cheating.
Yeah,
not a fan of tush push.
Yeah, same here. Not a fan.
Nope. So I have to give my dad shit about it all the time and listen to him. He'd fight back on me, because, but yeah, no. I do got to check out to see if what the fake tush push is all about. Not sure, man.
Yeah, not sure either.
So what else is going on, man? What's up with you? What did you do this weekend?
Not much. Friday was my birthday, so I took Jessica out to. We went to a Edgar Allan Poe speakeasy.
Yeah, how was that?
It was super cool. Everybody's they've been messaging us. How was it? We have them advertised up here. It's all about the venue and then the crew they got doing it. We did part 1 last year up in Sarasota, and it was amazing. Part 2 down here was out in Port Charlotte, a small little venue, so they couldn't do as big the actors were fantastic. When you see a really good performance at a good venue, and when you go to like a smaller venue, so your expectations were high, but the performance was great. We love Edgar Allan Poe. Jessica, a bigger fan than myself, but it was fun. And then that's it. Worked on Saturday, had the Ohio State game Saturday night. Sunday, I had to move some equipment for our for the shop. I needed a new brake lathe for our shop. And I've been asking for one for like a year, and they're like, they're like $15,000 for like a really nice brake lathe, and it's not in the budget. And so it was funny. I found another store that a friend of mine manages, and I messaged him. I go, hey Scott, you guys don't use your brake lathe. You got a brand new one. He goes, yeah, these guys don't turn brake rotors. And I go, can I have it? Like, yeah, just get with get with our area manager and just get it transferred, get it, off my books and onto your books. So, got that moved. And then, the tech, my other tech, messaged me today, and he's like, hey, it's got, some pieces that are missing that we need to, get. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I just didn't tell him that. I'm like, now we got to spend like $1,500 in parts, to get some pieces in. But I go, if I'd have told them that to begin with, they wouldn't agree to, my boss wouldn't agree. But now that I got rid of my other two, because my buddy that moved it all for us, he took my other two, they were older machines, like 25-year-old machines. They're going to do him just fine for what he needs them for. So I'm like, yeah, I still saved the company $15,000 on a new machine. So yeah, so we got to spend like $1,500, whatever. Who cares? Not my money. We're rich. So buy some pieces, motherfuckers.
Yeah. All I did was I just removed a couple zeros.
That's it. I'm like, oh, it's missing pieces? Weird. And they said it was all there. So whatever. So that was my day. And then I had to go do some ASE recertifications today. I had to take 3 tests, failed 1, passed 2 of them, but I didn't expect to pass the 3rd one anyway. So I just thrown it out there because my company pays me if I pass them. So I get a nice little bonus. So whatever. Yeah. Manual transmissions, it took me like 12 times to pass it to begin with. And there's no way I was passing. Nobody does. We don't do manual transmissions anymore.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So we have it's manual drivetrains and axles. So like we do axles and stuff like that. So we got word that like in the next year they're going to break those two tests up, because mechanics just don't do manual transmissions anymore. We don't rebuild them, so we don't need to know anything about them. So whatever. So that was my day. I came home and it's funny. Jessica had been bugging me for a month because our vacuum cleaner is getting an error code. I have the Samsung Bespoke Jet vacuum, getting an error message that the thing is clogged, and she's like, "I've taken it apart 3 times." I go, "Let me see what's going on with it." Finally, and she's like showing me like I took this. So I go, "I don't need to know what you took apart. I'm gonna fix it." So no, it's not. There's nothing clogged. There's nothing. See, I took this, and this part. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it out in the lounge. So I put my mechanical skills to the test with diagnosing. You start at your diagnostic tree, and in 10 minutes it was all working again. And I'm like, she's like, "How'd you do that?" I'm like, "Because I'm a goddamn mechanic and I'm a good one at that." So there's nothing I can't figure out. So that's it. Fix my vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's nice being able to fix something. Yeah.
It is nice. And it's frustrating when you can't, you're obviously more skilled than I. But it's also doing work around the house and stuff. And I think, I don't know, man. You make fun of my age and maybe you got something to it. But when I was younger, it was always like, all right, we're going to do X, Y, Z. Can I do it? I'm like, shit. Yeah, I can do that. We'll just freaking rip this out. We'll just get some freaking drywall. We'll get some flooring. Now it's like, I wonder if someone will charge to do this.
It always starts off with, I'll just rip all this out and then we'll proceed to step 2. It's not step 1 is plan the whole project. Step 1 is rip this shit out. And then step 2 is, I don't think I should have taken that part out.
I'm actually I think over the years with what I've done, I'm pretty good planner because I've always had the, someone, whether it was a spouse or a friend or a family member, do the whole, hey, can you just, all you got to do is just X, Y, Z. Yeah. And I'm like, do you know how many, shouldn't take that long. I mean, all you got to do is X, Y, Z. And I said, you know how many freaking stories I can tell you of, and one of them is a buddy of mine calls me and says, hey, my garden tub was leaking and we didn't know it. And the ceiling kind of started getting soggy and part of it caved in. So I had the guy fix the ceiling. Can you come over and help me fix the leak in the garden tub? I said, well, first of all, why didn't you fix the garden tub leak while it was exposed?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I had a little piece of my garage here where the toilet was leaking. And I was like, well, now that it's soaked the ceiling, I'm going to cut a big old square. I'm going to fix the problem. I'm going to test the problem. And then once it's not leaking, then I can freaking put the thing over here. I didn't think of that. I'm like, all right. He goes, all you got to do is just come over and just, probably tighten up a couple of bolts.
That's all it is.
It shouldn't take that long. I said, okay. So I show up. I said, conversation is downstairs. I said, Aaron, I said, you do realize that every conversation I've ever had starts off with, it should only take about an hour or so. I said, then it ends up taking longer. It's like, oh, well, I said, okay. So I walk up and I'm like, do you know where our biggest problem is right now? Just to start off, he goes, what? I said, you don't have an access panel. Yeah. So there's no access panel to the fixture. So now I got to create an access panel in their closet. So now, now I'm on the hook for making this look nice now, right? It's like, before it was just tighten up a few bolts. Now it's, so as soon as I pull that out and I look in there, and I put the flashlight in there, I said, here's problem number 2. The reason why you didn't realize this thing was dripping and leaking is because it's been dripping and leaking probably for about 15 years. And it's probably just reached the level where just enough of these drips actually weighed in on the freaking ceiling where it finally collapsed. I said, do you understand what copper piping with a slow leak, what happens to that over a 15-year period of time? I flashed it in there, and it looked like a freaking cave, like
Yeah,
stalactites,
yeah,
stalagmites,
yeah.
like patina. And I'm like, this is like, so got to cut all that out, get all that shit out. And then I see there's wood, and guess what's black mold. So
Yeah.
2 days later of cutting out wood, mask on, respirator, freaking putting everything back in there. That hour, tightening up a couple of nuts or two turned into a 2-day project where I had to frame out a freaking access panel, and everything else. And that's why I said, now it's like, gosh, I wonder just how much it would cost for someone to do it, because I'm just not in the mood.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I love working with my buddy Brian. He's one that helped me move that equipment today, or I helped him move that equipment yesterday. And like he'll like, hey, I need help like 2 hours for a job. Yeah, done. Because I know it's going to be an hour and a half. It's going to be 2 hours. I go over there. We have a project to do. He's like, we need to do either, whether it's a car, a house, fence, whatever. He's like, we need to do this, this, and this. I got this set up, this staged, and we're ready to go. I'm like, let's do it. And then we just start working. We've known each other for 30 years, 40 years, 30 years now. So yeah, we just start working. We work well together. We don't argue. We don't really talk, take a few breaks every now and then. And we just fucking work until the project's done. There's no, cause we're both getting old, and there's no more of these, projects that take 6 or 8 hours. Cause we're going to take breaks. We're going to have a couple beers. We're going to do this. And no, get the fucking project done, because we both got shit to do. And that's it.
Yeah. It's always good when you work with someone like that. Organized, planned, ready to go. Not kind of like, well, I don't know. Let's take a look here. I think if we do this, I'm like, man, if you're starting off like that, it's going to be a long fucking day.
No. On projects like that, it's the day prior or the evening prior. It's like, hey, I'm not quite sure what's going on. All right, let's come over, make a game plan, see what we're going to need, see what we're going to run into, things like that. Hey, let's cut an access panel. Let's take a peek inside there. Like, okay, so we know what we're going to need for tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll call this done. Let's go out and have a beer now. We're going to meet back here at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and we're going to get this shit done. And we just dive right into it.
Well, my problem was I didn't ask that question about the access panel.
Yeah. Yeah, you just think it's going to have one.
I think it's in a closet. Like, now it's called a wall.
Yeah. As a wall. I remember years ago I did the flooring in the house, and I did the acid etch flooring. And I watched, there's a great company, Concrete Camouflage. If anybody, they have a great like 8 or 9 part video series on how to do the flooring. And they start with like one video shows just one part. You got to get this done, and then you do the next step. So I took a week and a half vacation. I created a whole list. This has to be done on day one. Before you go to bed this Friday night, all of this has to be done. Saturday night, before you go to sleep, I don't care if you're up until 1 a.m., this has to be done. And I made a list, checked it all off, finished up a day ahead of time. And and that's on the big projects. You got to have a list. A list. And then you try and throw in one extra day of, like I did not, you tearing something apart and like, oh, I didn't expect to find this behind the fucking wall, so.
Yeah, I know, man. My ex and I, my house in Harrisburg was one of those things we're going to rip out the bathroom. It was a 1952 home. It had all the original, gray, gross tile, the pink, the blues, the grays. It was pink and gray. Small bathroom, plaster walls, everything else. Like, here's the budget, mapped out what it's going to cost, how much time it's going to take. And I was like, okay, we can get this done. I mean, this seems reasonable. So the first thing I run into is I start taking a sledgehammer to the tile, and then I'm like, oh shit, I didn't realize that back in 1952 they didn't have like green board, they didn't have reinforced freaking board that you that you would attach freaking tile to. They would take wire. It kind of looked like chicken wire, but freaking eight times thicker, like this is the shit that you would see freaking above a freaking prisoner of war camp. Staple it to the freaking, to the joist, and then freaking cement layer after layer after layer, and then affix the freaking tile. And it was about this thick. So here I am, like, so I start off hitting with a sledgehammer, and I'd have to break up the concrete, the cement that they used, and then I took a reciprocating saw with a blade on it and cut through the metal. And I'm like, there's a small window, and I'm like, I don't even know how I'm gonna get this shit out. So I'm just like throwing stuff out the window, and I'm like, I have it roped off because it's like if you accidentally walk under this, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And I probably had taken we had a little pickup truck, 3 trips of the back of the truck where it was like down to the dump with this cement. And I was like, I was already behind, a week just to demolition alone because of the cement and how heavy it was and just how much there was of it and just how difficult it was. Unbelievable, crazy busy. Or crazy difficult.
Like that. We're gonna redo our kitchen eventually, and I'm gonna pay a company to put the kitchen in and design everything, but I'm gonna do all the demo myself. And like I said, I'm definitely gonna give it a couple of days, of ripping everything out because I gotta put some studs in because I did put in some cabinets, and there's no studs where I needed it to be, and I'm like making these mental notes, and I'm like, all right, one day. The guys are going to thank me. Oh, they're going to thank me for putting studs in. When I built this, like we knew where the mini split was going to go. So in between each stud, I put like the cross studs in between, and then when the guy come out to hung the mini split, I had it like taped off like the area, and I go, anywhere inside there, you're hitting wood. He's like, really? I go, yeah, you can't not hit wood. It's all solid behind there, and he's like, God, this is awesome. So it was same on the outside of the house where they hung it on the wall. I go, anywhere inside this area, solid wood. Have at it. So
that's great. Yeah, having that preparedness. I was laughing because I remember it was like, one of my first house that I bought, it was one of my very first like projects that I was striking out on my own to do. Prior to that, we ripped up the carpets, the whole house, downstairs, and I refinished the floors, which was, come on, that's not that hard. It's just time consuming.
Yeah.
And any other project I had to do before that was something that my dad made me do, which was usually freaking horrible, freaking ridiculous, stupid labor. I didn't get to do any of the cool shit. It was just like, all right, dig a ditch, dig 10 holes, dig 15 holes. I was always digging or something like, hold this, freaking don't let me fall. If I get electrocuted, hit me with this freaking piece of wood, but all the stupid shit, your dad, when you're an electrician, says to you. So I was like, okay, there's the tub. And I'm like, I'm going to take a sledgehammer. I'm just going to hit it. You know what? Even the insert tub, you know what the tub in 1952 is made out of?
Probably cast iron, porcelain over cast iron.
It is. You know what cast iron sounds like when you hit it with a sledgehammer in a freaking room that is probably about, I don't know, 7 foot by freaking 5 foot.
I'd assume it's like being inside of a bell.
It is. Oh, I hit that thing and I was like, wah! I got out of the room. I start laughing and I was like, it's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I can't even hear you right now. I'm like, I need a minute,
Yeah.
So then from now on, I learned I go in there with earplugs and a big heavy blanket over top of it so I could hit it. But the first whack, woohoo! Like you said, it was like being in a bell, right in the middle of the bell, and then someone just banging it.
Oh, yeah. I'm really lucky when I bought my first house. I had done drywall finishing. I still do a little bit, every now and then for friends or for myself. My buddy dad, Dick, was an electrician. Another buddy of mine was a plumber. Another buddy of mine did concrete work for a little while. So when we needed to pour a slab or we had to put new electric in, it was so nice. It was just, we all traded work. We all needed a plumber. We all needed electrical. They all needed me to come over and patch a hole or put up in an addition. So, man, we just had a great fucking crew of guys. that just, I mean, we didn't have to outsource anything ourselves. It was just, the only thing that sucked is when I poured my first slab on my house, so we knocked out a window, put a set of French doors in out to a small porch. So we had to pour the slab for that. And because we were putting a hot tub out off the bedroom, and you couldn't get concrete back then, or and then if you could get it, it was just like a big construction boom. They wouldn't deliver. They wouldn't deliver like a half a truck of concrete. Like it was a full truck.
Right.
You couldn't order half a truck, so we had to buy everything. I had to have a pallet of Portland cement, have a pile of rock and a pile of sand delivered. Rented 2 mixers. And we had a crew of guys that were shoveling, counting the scoops, doing the water, getting the ratio just right for like 6 hours. That's all they did was kept those mixers going. And we were just pouring, dumping. You
pull a slab like that, you need that. Yeah, it's because I did that. I actually did the hand mixing because when I was growing up, I think I was probably about 14. And my dad, the guy when we bought the house, I may have been 13, but when we bought when we moved out of the city and bought the house, my dad wanted to close in the front porch. It's a big front porch. He wanted to close that in and then put brick on the floor, have brick floor. And then also, close, he wanted to close in the garage door and put a bay window. Well, Bob Reich, who was the construction guy, Bob was a little off. He was a little funny, but he put out the real big trowel, and I was the mixer.
Yeah.
I was 14 years old, 13, 14 years old. Sand, freaking powder, water. That's what I did. That's all I did, all day long for several days, while they freaking put up they lay down the cinder block. Freaking laid it down. Okay, we need more. Freaking and Bob would show me how to mix it up, but I remember it was like blisters all over my hands, freaking shoulders burning. But that's all I did all day long. 13, 14-year-olds just freaking. There was no mixer truck out there. It was this guy right here.
Yeah, no, we rented 2 gas powered. The ones you tow behind a car. You see the guys doing. Yeah, I rented 2 of those. Had them right next to the slab. Had them pour everything. They set everything right where I needed it. And then just, shoveling up in, mixing, dumping, starting.
We had a rental place. It was like, we could rent one, or I have a son.
Yeah. So the last big project I did was the French drain around the house in the springtime when or in the wintertime, I gotta finish the French drain on one side of the house, a nice little 20-foot run, small little rock sump. And that's the last big project I'm doing. I'm just getting to the point where I can't do this shit anymore. It's just
too much. I mean,
it is, like the French drain around the house, it was done. I mean, I'm not doing this stuff anymore. It's just gonna pay somebody.
I'll probably end up, just look at the cost and stuff. I'm probably going to do my back deck. I mean, we bought the house. I just it needed some spots replaced. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy the wood.
Your frame is already there. So as long as the frame there, but you just got to replace the joist or the decking.
But there is one section that leads into the house, and whatever they did, they really rigged it. So I think I'm gonna have to drill. I'm dig a hole, cement, post. I mean, I don't have to build the whole deck. I'm not gonna. But it is also one of those things where it just like I'd much rather just freaking sit here, smoke a cigar, and have them be like, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna go do this, and I'll be right back, and I'll let you know when I'm done." But
the only thing I would suggest for you, because I've seen your deck, is I would call out a building inspector, and just have them take a look at the deck, like, hey, like you said, he'll tell you, hey, you just put another post here. Like I said, just, this, and that's the only thing I would recommend.
But then I'd have to get a permit. They're not going to come out. They're going to have to inspect
not at all. I mean, it shouldn't, if all you're doing is replacing the existing boards and then maybe putting up a support, because the building is not the building inspector for the county,
like a private one.
Yeah, like you not they're not a, I'm not I'm using the term wrong, not building inspector, but when you're when you're building something, you have a private individual come in, and they are an inspector, but it's like a third party inspection.
Right.
I know. So yeah,
they're not someone who's tied to the county. They're just someone who is a project manager.
Yeah, like a project manager. Like I said, you find them all over the place. Like I said, hey, I'm building this deck. I need, I'll pay you your hourly rate. Come out here, take a look, see what I need, just to make sure. Mike Matthews says an engineer, but I don't think you really need an engineer. And
no,
most inspectors are gonna know, a lot of the engineering. Like when we did all the inspections on the house here, each inspector that came out knew what the engineering was on that particular thing that he was doing. Like the roof trusses, his job was to sign off on the trusses, but he also knew the engineering, of behind that. So he could, hey, that was like on ours, like, hey, he put that in backwards. Not a big deal. It's like, it's just as strong. He just happened to put it in backwards. It's not a big deal. It still passes, so,
but no, everybody has their specific,
that's it. So that's the only thing I would hire, probably can't be, but I imagine a couple $100 at the most is have someone come out, and take a look at it and at least give you the skinny on it. Cause you do want it to last a while, you don't
I even looked at some of the freaking, the new, that new fiberglass wood or whatever the hell it is, the new, faux wood.
Yeah. The Trex decking. Yeah.
It's freaking lasts forever.
Oh yeah. Cause it's wood pulp and, plastic and, it's really, really nice. And then you can get the ones with the groove in it. So you get the hidden fasteners. So you don't have to drill through there.
It's exactly. Well, we went to Home Depot and we were talking to a girl and she was like, I was looking at, like you said, that deck Trex and looking at the fasteners and stuff. And she's like, well, hey, let me get your information. I'll have someone call you and we come out and give you an estimate. Never got a call.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. We got a customer of ours. I haven't seen her in a while. She does the closets for Home Depot. She comes out and gives you the estimate. She comes out and gives you all the design and, gives you your options. And then they hire a company, to come out and do it. So I'm going to use that when we're getting ready to do our closet. Cause I kind of gave her an idea of the size and everything else. She's like, hey, you're probably not, it's like $5,000-$6,000, for all the built-ins and everything else. You're probably good, and I could probably go out and buy all the different, the closet made stuff and assemble them and the rods and everything else. But to have a company come out, measure everything, do it, put it all in.
I know, man. I just put one of those damn things in our closet in our hallway when you first come in.
Yeah.
And after I was done, I was like, this is terrible. Just something that simple of just and it was a shelf, right? Center shelf with, hangers, rods that came off the sides and something on top. And I was like, I updated our one closet, the shelving, like you said, the metal shelving and the different arms and hooks. And I thought, man, you know what? I'm turning into a grumpy old man. Before it'd be like, that would be my weekend. I'd love to do that. Now I'm just like, this sucks. I could be sitting around smoking cigars and hanging out and watch some TV instead of freaking trying to measure out and cut a freaking piece of wire fucking shelving unit. And then, I could do it. I just don't know if I want to.
Yeah, I did ours because one night Jessica and I were laying around and heard a big collapse. My shelf collapsed in the closet because I have 9,000 fucking t-shirts. So I spent the entire next day and I put up a whole Rubbermaid system, shelves, hangers, different things, shelves on it's fucking gorgeous. Came out beautiful, but it's just like a whole fucking day. But,
yeah.
At least I was able to do it myself. So it made it nice.
Yeah. The last big thing I did was, you were here. I actually removed the one shelf that was here, this big freaking storage shelf. I walled in this area here. Then we put in the flooring, and then I had all this left over, and I put the wall in front of my desk. And that I was like, because the way the desk was set up, it was annoying me. Every time I sat down to hang out, it annoyed me. It annoyed me that I could see under the desk, and I could see the wires. And one day I was just like, it was one of those moments where nothing was planned. I just looked over. I'm like, I got a bunch of 2x4s. I got a bunch of leftover drywall, and I'm irritated as all hell on how this looks. So I'm just gonna freaking have at it, and I just freaking put up the wall. I mean, it's not something that is like this incredibly, awesome. It's sturdy. It's great, but it was the last I don't know, maybe I could say it was a spontaneous thing that I did, was actually a big project. I just got up in the middle of just sitting there doing nothing. Jen's just like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I got to put this wall up." It's like, "Oh, what do you mean you just got to put the wall?" I'm like, "This is annoying me. I have to do this. I have to. If I don't do this, it's just going to drive me up a wall."
Yeah. We extended our kitchen a couple years ago, but the guys that were putting the deck in, and they're the same contractor that built this in our master bedroom. And I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to move the fridge down. So I need you to extend the wall by like 4 feet, 3. Can you frame this in real quick while you're doing the deck?" Yeah, piece of cake. It's all, I just frame it in. That's all I need. I'll do the drywall, everything else.
Right.
But yeah, it's because framing as a drywall finisher, I used to bitch at the framers all the time. Damn framers, don't know what they're doing. Things aren't. I'm like, I don't want to be me bitching about me.
Yeah, I know, right?
That damn framer, like, oh, that was me. Oh,
yeah,
crap.
Who did this?
So, yeah.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you: we got to do a fog box?
Oh yeah, let's. I even have that written down. I got a couple asterisks not by here. Let's hear a little words from our partners for supporting the show over at Fogbox.
Let's be real. Most travel cigar cases look the same: black, boring, forgettable. But Fogbox, they're doing it different. Every Fogbox travel case and lighter features custom hydro dip graphics, from bold patterns to badass designs that pop. These aren't just tools, they're statements. Whether you're at a lounge, a campsite, or on the beach, Fogbox gear stands out while keeping your cigars protected and fresh. Plus, the quality is rock solid. Airtight, rugged, and built to handle wherever you take it. If you're still carrying around the same black, plain cigar case everyone else has, it's time for an upgrade. Visit fogbox.com and grab something as unique as your cigar taste. That's fogbox.com. Built to travel, designed to stand out.
It reminds me, for everybody watching, next Monday night, there is no show. Karen, there's no show next Monday night. We're going to move it to next Wednesday night. I'm doing Miguel Rodriguez with the Bakersfield Gentlemen. Going to ask me to do his show.
Nice.
So I'm going to do his show, maybe get caught up with him, see how things have been going since his brother passed. And then should be a good show. Get caught up with Miguel. And then we'll come back next Wednesday night. Maybe we'll invite Ryan back on and just chill out with him.
Cool.
So
everybody.
Everybody, you definitely give me a dog box. Yeah, you definitely got to get a fog box, man. These things they're awesome. So everybody's smoking. What we got? The Wrath Cameroon for me, Brickhouse Maduro, right on Brickhouse. I'm the 2025 Bricktoberfest is what I'm smoking now. 601 La Bamba. Oh, great nice cigar.
Oh my God, some good mixes there. Yeah. Fog box is that's real nice. The designs are so freaking cool. It's definitely sharp as shit, man.
That they are
well made and everything else. I mean, yeah, that's I'm gonna have to catch you. I'm gonna catch you when you're on the go. We hung out with the guys from the Wolfpack Cigar Club. We were on.
How'd that? I didn't get a chance to catch it. How'd that show go?
Thanks for the support, Kev. I appreciate that.
I know.
Selfish bastard. It went well. I mean, it was great. It was a good time. Really good time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're they're incredible dudes. You know, we've supported them for a while. They always support us, and you know, they sent a fantastic package I got today for the Ashes to Africa um, 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 Ashes to Africa program. So, but yeah, super great guys. I mean, it's you know, I belong to their monthly club, and they you know, I should be getting my smoking cigars soon. But they always send a decent amount. I mean, you know, and they always, you know, they go the extra mile. You get your cigar, you know, your cigar club membership package. Always has stickers in it. You know, some poker chips. You know, a patch. There's always something in there. A couple of things in there, and we were laughing about it because you know as well as I do. It's like, you know, when you throw those things in there, it's a, you know, you're showing the support you're getting, some appreciating, some a little bit extra. You know, you do get some free advertisement out when you get some advertising out of it, but a lot of folks don't realize you don't have these companies contacting you saying, "Hey, Kevin, I've been watching you for a while, man. Cigar Prop's awesome. Can I just make you 1,000 stickers for free so you can give to people?"
Yeah.
No, it costs money. So, you know, anytime you're doing that, that's always a good thing. But no, we had a really good show. And you know, I know you've been helping out Jennifer as well because I know nothing about this stuff. You know, but we got everything set up on the vsrcigarfam.com as well. You know, for the
yeah. So
yeah.
yeah. So if everybody remembers the show we did a few weeks ago, Ashes to Africa, we're sending Kerr's son Joe to where are we sending him to? Tanzania
To Africa.
to do some Africa to do some learning. So you can buy raffle tickets if you're on Facebook. Just search Ashes to Africa, or if you're friends with me, or Kara, we've posted about it. But search Ashes to Africa, and so it's an event, and you can get a lot of the details. VSR Cigar Fam, you can buy your raffle tickets online. So super cool.
It's right there, main page, man. All you gotta do is hop on there, click the Ashes to Africa. It takes you right to the page where you can select, you know, how much you want to donate, and then how many tickets you want to buy, and you know, it's pretty cool. So, yeah, that was that's Jen and I set that up last night.
Yeah, Derek Dukes. Derek, I have been hooked on that. Kara and I have sent back and forth that comedian that does the if anybody doesn't know, Derek was a professional wrestler, the guy that does Macho Man, and I have been watching.
Oh, he's great, isn't he? He does a lot of great voices.
You know, he does a lot of great voices, but just when he said, you know, Macho Man always talks like, you know, like a dad that doesn't want to yell at his kids in front of all in front of all of their friends. So he's like, yeah, you know,
dude doesn't want to lose his shit. That's great. Listen here, I'm going to tell you something right now. What I need you to do is just get in the house and make sure the dishes get done, okay?
Oh my god.
He does a good Jesse the Body Ventura too, because he always does.
Oh, he does.
You know, he's like, I haven't been in the States now for a while. I live in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, I go down there, I surf. Because it's funny too, because I don't do a great Jesse the Body Ventura, but I see his mannerisms. When you start doing it, you got to do your head bobble like Jesse does. Jesse does that all the time. He says, "Hey, listen."
Same with the Macho Man. He goes, "You got to get your fingers
up. Listen." I like it. The guy. He always says, "He's like, if I was standing up, I'd have my hand in my belt too."
Yeah.
Man. But Jesse always does. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a show on YouTube, and it got canceled. Why? Conspiracy theory. Maybe we were hitting some things that people don't want to hear about.
Yeah.
I was a Navy SEAL. I was a mongrel, but my biker gang. I was one of the original members. I came back. I love when they were doing the governor. It was him. I can't remember who he was going against in Minnesota, but they were having the debate, and the guy was talking about stuff, and he said that he mentioned something about, you know, performing some task and doing this that, you know, a lot of people would not be able to understand. And Jesse's just like, "Are you kidding me? I did things that would make you puke in your hat."
Oh my god! Yeah.
Oh my god!
That was shit. Oh, I love Jesse. You know, he was great. He is off the wall now though, but
Oh yeah, he's definitely he's he is Jesse the Body Ventura, man. I'll tell you what though, when you read about his career, what he's done, and he talks about you know, I always love the fact about how him and Arnold Schwarzenegger would go back and forth
yeah,
on the set of Predator.
Predator, yeah.
And Arnold's like, I set him up one time. I told the costume designer that you need to measure the arms and measure his arms and say, you know, oh my gosh, your arms are 2 inches bigger than Arnold's. And then Jesse the Body came up to me and he said, hey, I bet you a case of champagne that my arms are bigger than yours. And then we measured them, and I got him because my arms were 2 inches bigger than his, but I had the costume person set him up. He wasn't that. So the next morning I wake up and I got my case of champagne. So I'm laughing, going, I could imagine being on that freaking set. Oh my god.
I can only imagine. I did see today that they're having an MMA event later this year on the White House lawn.
Yeah,
like
I saw Colin, what's his face, once like $100 million, like 100 gold visas or something out.
Oh, I know. I didn't hear about. I just listening to the head of the MMA. I forget his name offhand. The bald guy, Dana White, talking about it today, and he was saying like everybody is calling him. Everybody wants to be on that card, you know, to fight. So I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That is going to be one hell of a venue.
Yeah. Colin Ferguson. Listen to me, Jesus. I can't think of comedians. What the hell's his name?
Colin Cowherd?
Colin McGregor.
Oh, Colin McGregor.
Yeah. Colin McGregor. Said
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. Thank you. God Almighty, I'll get it right. Conor McGregor said that he wants $100 million and like 100 like gold visas or something. To fight. And
oh my god,
I don't know, man. It's freaking that whole freaking thing is going to be, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's running for the president of Ireland. So and he's got a lot of support behind him.
I'm sure he does.
You know, so it'd be interesting. They're getting a little fed up over there. So the EU is kind of taking the American stance of immigration, and they're getting fed up with the woke culture, and we have definitely exported, you know, of that overseas. So it's great to see that.
Yeah, you imagine, man. Listen, having an MMA fight on the White House is going to be, that's pretty funny. But you know, what other events? What kind of events do you think they had back in the day?
At the White House?
Yeah. What do you think? Well, I mean, like back in the 1800s. You know, they probably had duels.
Duel. I mean, you hear the stories about during the Civil War when people were inventing new guns and everything else. They would go up to the White House and they would like knock on the door, and then like President Abraham Lincoln would like answer the door, and there'd be a guy with a gun, like, hey, I'd like to show you my new gun. And they'd like go out on the White House lawn and like shoot guns. And if he liked it, he's like, yeah, I'll take, you know, whatever, 1,000, 10, whatever it was, you know. And it was just back in the day, you just knocked on the door and the president fucking answered.
Yeah.
You know, exactly.
That's hilarious, man. I mean, I can't imagine that. I mean, we talked about it before. I mean, how many presidents, you know, first, 10, 15 presidents, you know, left the White House broke as shit, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I can imagine what other types of events occurred during, you know, over the years that were like, you know, we probably look at it now. I know Tony said here, you know, it's so embarrassing, but I mean, listen, I'm kind of curious on what they're going to do with the money that they make. You know, if it's going to be held on the White House lawn or wherever the hell it's going to be held.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
I wouldn't mind seeing them take some of that money. You know what I'd like to see too? I mean, listen, I call it like I see it. You know, we've been hearing all this time about all the money that Doge has saved us. You know, and you get the laundry list of ridiculous shit that money's been spent on. Um, I'd like to say that that money was not free, that it had to come from taxpayers. And since you are cutting these programs and saving them, it wouldn't be nice to be able to see some money come back.
You know, as far as I know,
on the idea, but
every
it's like
every now and then you still hear the president will mention that that he still wants to do the $5,000 for every American that pays taxes. You know, he wants a $5,000 refund for every American that pays taxes. I would like to see that.
I would too. I mean, I think it's great. I think that, you know, what they did was they went in and rooted out a lot of freaking misspending. And I don't listen, if you're on the left or on the right or wherever you are, and if you're bitching about that, then, you know, I got some, and thinking that it's stupid, I think I got some oceanfront property in Utah I'd like to sell you, because everybody knows that there's ridiculous wasteful spending in the government. And so no one should be surprised over the shit that they were found. I think we're surprised over how much money was being spent on just ridiculous stuff, which you know, I know we probably realize how crazy it was, but it really was pretty eye-opening when you did take a look at exactly how much money was being spent and given, not only here in the States, but also what was being funded, you know, in other countries. And it's our money. It's our money. It's like, you know, we say we can't help and support small business. We can't do this, do that, but we're spending hundreds and tens of hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, out to other countries for, you know, whatever the hell, you know, they were doing.
Yeah, you know, the 10,000 NGOs and non-government organizations that are getting money. You know, I was on the fence at the beginning when they were cutting the USAID, and I'm like, oh man, I mean, starving kids in Africa and everything else. And then you heard people on the left, you know, people on the right, you know, they were all like, you know, then the story started coming out. It was like, hey, yeah, you know, we gave this country, you know, they got a grant for $10 million, but once all the NGOs and everybody else got like the people got whatever, $1 million, $500,000, whatever. It was a fraction of a fraction. It was everybody else took their cut the whole way down. And then it was USAID, you know, involved in, you know, things for the Democratic Party, trying to get them reelected. And I'm like, oh, hey, what was that all about? You know, like this was all like, I mean, they had to say where their money goes. You can look this all up. This is an opinion. These are facts. I don't, you know, I try to put out opinions, and it's just like, oh, that's kind of a messed up organization, you know? But then there was just thousands of them, thousands and thousands of, you needed $10 million to get a grant, you know, and look at, you know, when Biden left the right before he left the White House, he had his two staffers start a charity, and he got like they got like $10 million, and it was fake charity. They didn't do anything. They just kept them. Luckily, a lot of it was clawed back, but it's like they had no intention of giving that money out. And then people's like, oh, you know, like $100 million a drop in the bucket, you know, on a $1 trillion deficit, but we got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, 100 million, 100 million, 100 million. Eventually, over time, that will equal $1 trillion. You know, I mean, are we ever going to save that? I don't know, but at least if there's at least a couple organizations that are going to think twice about asking the government for some fake money, you know, like, oh, hey, we better not, you know,
well, yeah,
do that. But
I mean, it's been shown all the different, you know, all the different corruption, all the corruption that's been going on, especially within the USAID, and you know, like you said, knee-jerk reaction.
Gender studies. Yeah.
I mean, but again, it's like, you know, if you want to reinvest that money here, the States is great, but these NGOs, people take their cut of the loot. You don't know where the money's going, and then you see the lack of vetting, and it's like it's like these bills, right? When people pass it, they'll name something, this bill. It's like, oh, the 9/11, you know, money fund or whatever, you know, survivor fund. And if you read through it, you realize that, the $100 million or $300 million bill, like 30% of it's going to go towards the 9/11, survivors. The rest of the money is going elsewhere, because that's what they call pork. It's the pork, the fat that's in these bills, and you got to cut that, and have a true bill that actually does what it says. But I'm just amazed at not only, the amount of money that's been going out, but at the end of the day, you know, um, you're doing a victory lap, which everyone is cheering, but you're also doing a victory lap, and it's like, okay, are we going to get any of that back? You have identified the misspending of taxpayers' money. Either lower taxes, get rid of taxes, and find something, or or refund some money, because at some point you've identified a problem, but you've only put a Band-Aid on it, in my opinion.
That's it. Munster, I work at a jail. We pay for sex changes. Look at Private Manning, Chelsea Manning now, traitor, espionage. We paid for his whole procedure. Stacey Abrams, same thing. Oh, all those, just those organizations out there.
And both sides are very guilty of it. They throw money at each other left and right. It's a good old boys and good old girls club. It 100% is.
Yeah.
And it's I remember when they did the bank bailout.
Yeah.
The bank bailout. Bush and those guys said, okay, we're gonna pull this money together. Hey, do you want to put someone overseeing the money? No, we're gonna have the heads of the bank oversee what happens to this money. Well, only a certain percentage of that money was actually put back into the system to help homeowners who were struggling during that time. I know I was one of them. The job market tanked. We were in this freaking recession, or whatever you wanted to call it at that point. Depends on who you're talking to. And you're like applying for every possible freaking relief, and everybody's going, no.
Yeah.
And then you find out that all these CEOs are making sure that they're paying themselves, and remodeling their freaking offices. And I had somebody, I advised somebody. They advised me. I went to someone and I was talking about all the different programs that were available this time. This is 2008, 2009, and the guy's like, yeah, I used to work. He was doing some helping and some advising homeowners and stuff. And he said, I used to work in the government. He said, here's what's going on right now. It's like some mortgage companies, what they'll do is, they get these funds that are to help them and help out the people who are homeowners. And what they'll do is they'll look at blocks, of property, just not homes, but blocks. And they'll be like, we can support and help this block, fuck them. You know why?
Yeah.
Because if they lose their home, we'll just freaking take the home back and we'll resell it and we'll be fine. And they would pick and choose what they wanted to do, because they wanted to save their money and hold on to their money and reinvest it back into the company, make sure that they were all getting paid, because they were getting hit pretty hard, during this time frame. But that was the risk that they were taking, because they were just writing out freaking loans left and right to just anybody.
Yeah, they should have done it like they did with GM. When GM got bailed out, the government took over that company. They got a new CEO, and GM paid back within 5 years. I think it was actually within 3, if I'm not mistaken. Paid back all the money with interest, because they're like, we don't want the fucking government running our fucking car company. Let's get them their money back and get them the hell out of here. And they should have done that with bank. They should have done the bank. They should have taken over Bank of America, given it to the Fed. Like, hey, when you guys get your shit together, we'll let you have a new CEO, and then you guys can have your bank back. But no, can't do that.
Well, that's when you're going to have people bitching and complaining, going, well, you see that's the fascist regime. They're going to take, that's the first thing. The communists, they take over the banking, they take over this. And it's like, well, listen, they need to be bailed out. But my point to the whole thing too is that you have to appoint someone to oversee what's going on with the money. There needs to be a checks and balance, and there was no checks and balance. The Bush administration just gave it away. It's like putting the foxes in, we were watching the hen house. It just was horribly laid out. and a lot of that money just went in the freaking pockets of executives and companies, and it really, um, there's a lot of class action lawsuits against a number of companies at that point in time, and many of them lost. I know the guy was involved with the class action lawsuit with a mortgage company, and when you found out, what was going on and what had happened with the money and what happened with this, what this mortgage company did, it makes you sick to your stomach, on what they were doing.
Yeah, I remember when Doge first came in, and what was it, the Treasury Department, whatever. They were just writing checks, like no check. I mean, no line items. Like they didn't put like the line item code of what the check was for. So they're going back in the history, and they're like literally trillions of dollars, and they don't know where it went because they just skipped that line when they're putting it. They just, okay, we got a bill for this. Just write them a check. And then they never put, so we never know where any of that fucking money went, and I know, you got the CIA, like basically the Department of Defense, CIA, FBI, there's $6 trillion missing. Like they don't know, we know exactly where that money, it's all these black projects and everything else, Lockheed and all these companies got that money. We, somebody knows where that fucking money goes.
Oh
but,
yeah.
We'll never find that. Back engineering the UFOs, which I'm cool with. Just tell us, if you got a UFO and you're trying to back engineer it, I'll let you keep the $6 trillion. Just let us fucking know about it.
Think they're gonna let you know, Kev?
No.
They're gonna keep that one. I've been seeing more and more videos and more news about this comet that's going to be a couple of days, right? It's going to be
it's coming up soon.
3i Atlas. That's going to be what,
13th
of December. Let me check here real quick, or October rather. I'm sorry. It's larger than they thought. Could be an alien tech. That you see that guy with the long beard, Jeremy. What's his name? Can't think of his name.
Jeremy does all the documentaries. I can't think of his name offhand. Yeah,
him and Greer. I've seen a couple of newer videos with them of them talking about how they're certain, like they're going to create this a false flag of an alien invasion or aliens for some other. But what's funny is they talk about what they think is going to happen, but they never try and explain why or never get into it. I've seen Greer come out and start talking about the same shit. There's that actually Greer is talking about how that there's going to be a big to do because I guess we're doing this, reverse engineering, and we have not been too friendly to the aliens, and they're getting sick and tired of it. So
I don't
know who from the alien race advised him on this information, but
I don't know what to make of Greer. He says, I mean, I don't, because he knows so much information. And he talks about all of these black sites that he has had access to. And it's just like, he's on the CIA watch list, the FBI watch list. The government keeps tabs on him. And it's just like,
he claims that people get killed that were close to him. And he's got bodyguards 24/7.
If he knew as much as he claims he knows, there's no way the government would allow him to live. Bodyguards are not, the government knows how to off people. Yeah, so I don't know what to think about Greer. I want to believe him, but I don't know. He's just one of those cats that is he a CIA plant? Is he an operative? Misinformation campaign.
Well, you hear a lot about those guys. Like I think who was the guy who came out a little while ago?
Lou Elizondo was a big one.
He's someone where when you come out and you're like, yeah, I've been authorized and I can say this, but I can't say it. Anytime I'm like, no, I don't believe anything you're telling me right now. Greer's the kind of guy that will, you'll hear him talk and he'll talk for 20 minutes. You're like, God dang, God dang. And then after 20, when he hits 21 minutes, you're like, oh shit, man. I don't know. That dude's a little off now. It's like a lot of what he says makes sense, but then, like you said, he just starts getting more and more deeper and deeper into this conspiracies, and you start to wonder, I don't know if this guy's if this guy's for real or not. The Boogosphere, he was commenting on it.
Yeah.
That that thing is supposed to be carbon dated back to over 12,000 years old. That's another one too, man. I look at it, you're like, wow, you see the videos of it flying and the videos of him finding it, and then when they showed up close, I'm like, I don't know. It looks like me and Kev probably got drunk one night and put together a ball and drilled a couple holes in it and just, said, hey.
I know. Bob Lazar is the only one I 100% truly believe.
Oh yeah,
everything that comes out of Bob Lazar's mouth, I 100, because he's never profited. He doesn't like talking about it. He has proof. The last time he did that interview with after Rogan with the Jeremy guy, his business got raided by the FBI because he made some kind of like gist that he still had. He had a little piece of element 113, whatever it was, and
he was calling it that before they even knew it existed. And guess what happened for 10, 20, 15 years later?
Yeah.
He's been the most consistent, I think.
Yeah.
And like you said, the most believable when he talks about it. He's silently he has silently gotten popular. He wasn't one of these guys that are just coming on the screen and making a movie or documentary every 5 minutes. And when you actually watch the story about him, it is pretty interesting because he's a super smart guy. Everything that he talks about, kind of makes sense with how it sounds. That doesn't make sense. It sounds feasible.
Yeah, they got a new documentary going to be released in the next month. And the people that have screened it, they say they can't talk about it. And they say, this is going to be the one. This is the one that's going to open people's eyes and it's going to blow some fucking minds. Rogan has seen it. Dana White has seen it. A few of these guys, and then some of these scientists, they've pre-screened it for coming out soon. And they say that one's crazy.
I'll be interested in that because did you see the clips they showed of the freaking the drone or whatever they want to call it, or UFO, getting hit by a Hellfire missile and just kept on going?
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, gets hit by, they show it flying, and then it gets hit by a Hellfire missile, and it kind of breaks apart a little bit, and it keeps flying, and the parts that break apart just kind of join it, and it keeps on going.
Oh man,
they actually showed that in Congress.
Yeah, I'll have to find that one. But yeah, it's it's crazy. We got the that new footage of like the structure that's underneath the pyramids.
Yeah.
And that's just like, that's an easy one to debunk. Just let those guys use that, be on site with the ground penetrating radar. You want that debunked. Oh, just let them on site. Not a big deal. Just let them be there. Do a little digging around the base, get an excavator in there, do a little fucking digging, know, but they don't want anybody to dig around the pyramids. And it's just like, oh, it's,
I find it interesting too, kind of what they when they show the pyramid, the main pyramid, and the inside of the pyramid, and the different stones, the residue, and how it was basically a power station.
Yeah.
When it's like, and again, it's not something that is like, hey, do you see that picture there? That's really a spaceman. It's not that. It's like saying, hey, this is limestone. This is this stone. It's filled with water. When these two get together and the water gets together and there's freaking some pressure, it creates this. And it's fact. It's objective fact.
Yeah, I think and the Graham Hancock is the one for he promotes the ancient civilization, that there was a civilization 15,000 years ago before the Younger Dryas, and that the cataclysm just wiped everything else out.
Mm-hmm.
And we've proven that with Göbekli Tepe. 15,000 years old. We thought it was ancient Mesopotamia is where life started. 5,000 years ago, and we beat that by 10,000 years. And it's just intricate.
It's only like what 10% of it's been exposed, right?
Yeah, and that's a whole big thing because the government's just a big tourist trap now. You're not allowed to dig anymore. They got it and it's that's just a big shit show. The government got involved in that, and now it's just a big tourist trap. It's all it is.
Yeah.
But there's other places like that they're finding, that are dating back even further. That they're saying, now I forget where over there, and it's always over in that same area that they potentially have one that's up
in
to
the Middle
like
East, like in Turkey area, right?
Yeah, that's where that's at, Turkey.
Yeah.
But now they're saying that they got to do some more research because they found a new site that might be as old as 20,000 years old, and now if that's the fucking case, it's just all bets are off.
Yeah,
100%. It's nuts.
Well, even when they talk about the Sphinx, how out of place it is, the age of the Sphinx, the watermarks, the water lines, the head so much smaller that it was actually recarved by the Egyptians.
After they found it,
after they found it, and even the fact that they found the pyramids, that they really didn't build the pyramids. I think some of that stuff is, again, I'm always a conspiracy guy. I love watching the UFO shows, and I still think what's his face from the Y-Files on the Sean Ryan show was a great episode. I mean, incredible episode. But I look at kind of the facts where they're saying, okay, here's what the pyramids are made out of, and then here's where it's located. And here's where this is located, and here's where this is located. The different types of stones that were used, and just listen, we're pretty smart guys, right? We got some pretty good technology here. To be able to build even a scaled model of that, to get it perfect, the way they've gotten the sides perfect, it'd be next to impossible for even modern marvels and different machinery to do. I mean,
we haven't here in Florida. We got something called the Coral Castle, and a guy built it. Lost his wife or something, and decided to build her a tribute. It's this whole big compound house and everything, all made out of coral, all super heavy boulders. When you come in through the front gate, it had this door that was 20 feet tall, 10 feet wide, 5 feet thick, weighed whatever, 10 tons, 15 tons. Never had any help. Built everything himself. One interview, like in the 80s or so, the 90s, they're asking him, like, in the door, like, you push it with one hand and it just spins freely. It's so perfectly balanced. And they asked him how he built a lot of the stuff. And he said, I figured out how the Egyptians built the pyramids. And that's all he would ever say. And then there's a number of years ago, like, due to the weather and everything else, that they needed to basically put like a bearing in this door. They needed to take it off. And it was like a year-long project. They had all these giant cranes, trying to get this door lifted to do all. And then this guy, with our modern technology, it took all this time to fix this door. And this guy not only carved it himself and then assembled it himself, so I don't know. There's some, there's some stuff out there.
That's amazing. I just looked it up. That is pretty amazing if he did that on his own.
Yeah. There's some documentaries on it if you want to watch something on the Coral Castle here in Florida.
28 years.
Yeah, all by himself.
And it says here that a few teenagers claimed to have witnessed his work, reporting that he had caused the blocks of coral to move like hydrogen balloons. The only advanced tool that he said he spoke of using was a perpetual motion holder.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts, but we're gonna. I don't know. Every year that goes by, I get more and more hope. There's going to be, this.
Well, you keep announcing something's going to come up. You get like, I think for the last 3 years, you're like, next year's going to be the year. I heard it.
No, yeah. So it's gonna be the year. It's just something's going to be found, and they're not going to be able to keep it under wraps. Like it's like shit. Like there's just like news crews are going to be there like when they find it. And it's going to be
it's getting closer, man. Yeah. I mean, with between what's going on with Congress, the different hearings they're having, all of the different sightings. Now it's not taboo for pilots to report it. You've seen that little a propeller plane with the freaking UFO that flew by.
Oh yeah.
That one. That's a pretty freaking amazing video. Or the one with the sphere with the square inside of it just flying by.
They've had that several times, the square with the sphere inside. Yeah
It's more and more of this shit's happening, and it's being documented, and God almighty, with all the cameras everywhere and freaking these things, it's hard not to capture something. There's gonna have to be something that's gonna hit. It just is.
Yeah, they're gonna be there. There's gonna be some film crew somewhere filming a movie with their 4K video or cameras. Something's gonna happen. They're gonna pan over, and we're gonna catch something in 4K ultra high def, and they're just gonna throw that out there and be like, that's gonna be it. Like this is the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious about it. I mean, it was when you watch that video of that UFO get hit with the Hellfire missile. It's pretty interesting. I still would love to see like the actual videos of the Tic Tac. They have some of those very blurry, grainy videos of it dipping and stuff, but I would like to see the actual videos.
They say there is true high definition. Yeah. Film of that. You had the one at the Air Force Base over in Afghanistan, wherever over there. You had that sphere that they caught on the base camera that was just, and it wasn't a trick of light because it was moving like it was searching for something, and it was just back and forth, and like there was no reasonable explanation for that. Like nobody's debunked that. Like, oh, it's a trick of the lighting or the camera, and it's like, no, it just moves slow and methodical, and like it was in a search pattern. It wanted something, so
yeah. I remember watching that video, and they were saying how grainy it was, and one of the witnesses, they had a lot of the guys during that time who were on that ship, you watch their interviews, and you could tell how genuinely upset they are, and bothered by it. And how keeping it a secret or whatever for as long as they did, they remember the one guy saying, "Yeah, they're only showing you this really grainy version of it." He goes, "The ones that we handed over when they landed on the carrier," he goes, "were freaking clear. Like you can see the little freaking things underneath it. There's little arms underneath." They said about that were visible in the Tic Tac, and and then Fravor, when you hear his story, and those who were with him, it's pretty compelling, and it's that's the one that I definitely want to. I'm interested in seeing, because there's some pretty interesting story about that Tic Tac, of just how fast it was and how it knew where they were, and they said it was gone, and poof, it was. It was located in their rendezvous point where they were going to originally rendezvous. So,
and then how, because Jeremy Corbell, that's his name.
There you go.
When he got the footage of the Tic Tac, and then the other one, the Go Fast video, that was leaked to him, and it's just like, man, like I said, because they can trace that, and then the Pentagon allowed it to be released, and they declassified it, and I'm like, that was all gimme, because they know, like if that was whoever released that, if that was classified information, they know exactly who was involved in that. There are very few pilots, very few people on the ship. They could have easily traced that back to one person, court-martialed that person for giving away state secrets.
Yeah.
So for the Pentagon to come out and say, declassify it and say, yeah, this is real, blah blah blah, and allow that footage to be released. To me, that was the Pentagon giving that footage to Jeremy Corbell deliberately. Like, he got that footage deliberately, because there's no way, because if they wanted to keep it secret, like they'd have ruined careers.
Yeah,
Careers would have been, because like I said, you could trace that back to the pilot.
Yeah.
Okay, so Commander Faber, the one that was in the plane. All right, who did you give this info to? You landed. Where did that go? Very very few people. Hands that you maybe whittle that down to 6 people, 8 people. Threaten them all. So yeah, if that was really leaked footage, I don't think so. I think that was deliberately put out as a precursor,
a little prep work
of them putting it out, giving us these little tidbits.
Mhm.
I kind of believe in the false flag, of hey, we do have this alien tech. These people, they're not friendly, and we need to clamp down on this, and that. And that's, I don't know. I'm kind of believing a little bit of that as well.
No, I think so. I mean, I think that there's some preparation going on. Yeah, I to your point, I mean, it doesn't take much to trace these videos back to whomever. So if unless there is a true, I mean, because you'll hear these guys, the stories of saying, well, I was walking by and I saw the pictures of these bases on the moon. It's like, well, if he would have grabbed those pictures and released them and taken them out, it would have taken him about 3 seconds to figure out who it was. Who has access to it, who was in the room. Bing bang boom. You're gone. So I am very interested to see how this year is going to end, to see if there's any more information, because it kind of comes in waves. I've noticed that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I noticed it's been picking up now that they've been talking about this comet that's coming. And listen, you and I both, we see the different fakes videos that are out there. And the stories, and it's like it's really tough. It's becoming harder and harder to figure out and find out what's real and what's not. You'll read one story and it's just like, no, it's just a comet. That's all it is. And you read the next story and it's like, and it's all from legit freaking, I don't know, whatever news sources. And they start talking about how it's, it should be releasing more gas right now, but it's not. It should be slowing up, but it's speeding up. It shouldn't be giving off nickel and this and that. And it's really interesting what they're saying, how it's not acting like a normal comet. And it's like, well, they could be just experiencing something that's interstellar, so it's something that from our galaxy. So there's a good possibility it may not be acting like something we've normally seen before. I don't know.
Yeah, and they just found another interstellar object last week or 2 weeks ago. It's like super far away, but this will be another. It all started with a Muamua. Was the first
I remember that one. Yeah,
interstellar object ever. We didn't think that. They said we didn't think that they could travel that far. It's like the first thing that's ever entered. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess as far as we know, now that we got better cameras and everything else, and now there's another one, and yeah, this 3i Atlas. It'll be interested to see what it does, and I believe they are all alien probes, every one of them.
There you go.
So I don't know. That's what I like to think.
Well, they said that on the 3rd of October, they're going to be able to observe it with some cameras and spectrometers. On the 30th of October, it'll be its closest approach to the sun and then
Yeah.
I guess they think in 2nd of November. I thought it was supposed to be close to Mars soon. I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a little bit since I've read up anything on it. I know it was getting close, like you said. Then we got that comet that's coming up in the next like year or so. It's going to fly underneath of our satellites. That's how close it's going to be, to the Earth. So, we'll see what that's all about, and we'll see if the aliens are going to protect us.
Is that going to be like Thundar? You probably don't remember this cartoon, but Thundar the Barbarian. Do you remember that from the 80s?
No, it sounds familiar, but
he had this sun sword. He had this freaking sun sword. Basically, a comet flew between the Earth and the Moon, and it took away the atmosphere of Earth and then caused all this decay and everything else and disruption. So, if something's flying that fast, I'm wondering. First thing I think of is, or is it going to be like Night at the Comet, that horrible freaking movie where the freaking the tail of the comet like goes, and the Earth is in the path of the tail of the comet, which then causes everyone to become zombies and stuff.
I just want to see the pictures of the bases that are on the
there's
moon? There's really not a dark side of the moon. People don't realize that. The moon is just tidally locked to us, so we just don't see the other side. But it's completely lit. We just don't ever see it. So that's where all the alien bases are. And
you figure though, I think what keeps that whole thing alive too is, of all the probes that we have, right? All these satellites that we have, no one said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and shoot one around the other side of the moon and get some pictures."
Well, they have the Japanese did that. They released some pictures, but the moon is still pretty fucking big. They released some pictures, of an area that doesn't have any bases. Like, oh hey, look at this, look at this.
Helpful.
Yeah, I know, because they're not allowed to release pictures of the bases. So but yeah,
do you think the moon's hollow?
I don't think it's hollow. I'm almost beginning to believe. I read a lot on it that the moon was placed here.
Yeah,
like it's not like I read more and more on that. Like there's nowhere else that we have found so far, and literally there's trillions of planets with trillions and trillions of moons, so we can't search them all. But for what we have found, we've never seen a planet with a moon as big as ours, proportionate to the Earth. Like it's just like it's uncommon, or like it's like
perfectly round, the perfect distance between us, the sun, where we get the perfect eclipse. It's tidally locked.
It's and this is the other why can't we? This is the one that's got me. I could go off all day on why can't we fly over Antarctica? We have a national treaty. You can't have bases. No one's allowed to own it. But no one's allowed to own any land. You're not allowed to have weapons on Antarctica. But the U.S. military says there are certain areas you're not allowed to fly over. Yeah.
That's because you can't fly over Antarctica because the world, it's flat. So the Earth is flat, so you can't fly over Antarctica. No, I mean it's you read all of the you see the stories, you read all about the different bases, whether it's alien, there's stories of
the Hitler Nazi base,
the Hitler Nazi base, but then you also hear the stories about the interdimensional beings, and the one guy flying and all of a sudden it was green.
It was Admiral Byrd.
Bird's story.
But a lot of that diary was debunked, as in it's faked. But then again, was it? We haven't talked to the people that debunked that said that diary was fake. So we do know that Antarctica was completely green at one time. It's a mile down. There's still land under there somewhere. So
there's definitely something that's under that. I always liked the freaking Alien versus Predator movie where
they shoot the
the laser down there. But I think there is a lot that deep within the ice surface of Antarctica. But it is very odd that you're not allowed to fly over and travel over. I mean, you hear some crazy stories. I love the Y files and other stories that they talk about the different things that people have experienced and found down in Antarctica. But the more you keep it secret, the more you kind of like raise that suspicion. You just do. Same thing with the moon. I've heard the story of them crashing. Um, the landing module into the moon, and it rang like a bell for an hour.
Yeah.
That it was hollow. They talk about when was the moon, like going back with different however long humans have walked the earth. We just talked about that earlier. It's being debunked on the theories and stuff.
Yeah,
But
you're talking about the story of when the one culture said they remember when the moon showed up.
yeah, they remember when the moon showed up, because prior to that there was no documentation of the moon.
Yeah.
They remembered one night, it's like, oh shit, there's a moon. So
Yeah.
again, like you said, was it placed there? I mean, but you also got to think about the relationship the moon has with the earth, not only with the tide, but also the protection. There is a lot of questions there that there's enough things where I'm not big into coincidences, right? So when you have something that occurs that is rare, it's like, wow, that's pretty amazing. But then when you talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things that are rare, at some point the coincidences are not coincidences. It's intentional, because you can't have that many. You can't.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, I don't think you can. I think it's
you're 100% right. In the Munster, you got to watch with the government both hands. Yeah, when the government shows you, the Tic Tac video, hey everybody, look at this. But what's this hand over here doing? What are they taking our attention away from?
There's usually something that's definitely our attention's being taken away from.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not much of a conspiracy person when it comes to I say that, but with 9/11, but
Tucker's got me thinking more about 9/11.
The one area that really confuses the shit out of me is the plane that hit the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Now that was a real plane. Real people died. And but there's no videos of it. There's one very terrible video of it. But I mean, it just so happened to hit the same area where they kept all the documents of what was it, the $3 billion that were missing, that or $5 billion that what the hell is his name? It was part of the Bush administration. It was like 2 days earlier. They're like, yeah, we're missing like $7 billion.
Yeah.
And then it's like 9/11 happens. It's like, okay, what area got hit? Oh, that was the area that had all the information where we need to find that $7 billion.
Yeah, I've been watching more Tucker Carlson. I got to finish that part 1 of the special that he did. I'm not a conspiracy theorist when it comes to 9/11.
No.
But then when you're watching, I was watching something with John Kiriakou today. I loved ex-CIA agent. Was a whistleblower on the torture program. He was saying, the largest like information blunder in history, like that we allowed that to happen. Like how did we not? We know everything about everything, and how we didn't catch that. And he's not saying conspiracy at all. He's just saying, as part of the CIA, we dropped the ball on that, and then other people were like, yeah, did they drop the ball on that? Like what's going on? So Tucker's got me questioning things about 9/11, that, it's you got Dick Cheney, Karl Rove.
Oh God, yeah. But Munster says men with box cutter took over that many planes. The one thing that we can't talk, that we do know what happened to Flight 96, because we heard, unfortunately, what happened there. But what we don't know is, all the what was being told. If you're in a plane and you're taking off and you're flying, and a bunch of guys get up with box cutters and say, hey, there's a bomb on the plane, sit down or we're gonna freaking blow it up. That's where a couple of guys with box cutters can control situation, because back then, you know, we were always accustomed to, these terrorist attacks. You'd see it all the time with
Yeah.
bombs on planes and stuff. There was nothing thought of what happened that day of them flying planes into buildings. I don't think that wasn't anybody would imagine that. It was usually we're going to hijack a plane and we're going to ask for money and we'll say we'll land somewhere, and they usually don't. They blow it up or crash or whatever. But it was what they were going to do was completely unknown. And it's just freaky when you think about it. But that's another thing Jesse the Body always talks about. When he does his show, he's like, if you watch the towers fall, you can see it's demolition. I'm a demolition. I dived with the buds. I'm a demolition expert. And you can see the puffs of smoke. He sits there and he freaking picks it apart. Jesse's just, he's, when he starts talking about shit, when you start agreeing with Jesse Ventura, that's when you got to go take a break.
Yeah. Demolition or not, whether they're taken down by our government or not, 2 planes flew into those towers.
100%.
100%. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
But the amount of demolition listen, I just got to interrupt you for a second now. The amount of demolition that would be necessary to take down those buildings.
Yeah.
I know now there's the mysterious, well, they've been doing construction on it for like a week or two. I'm like, do you realize how much, not only is it demolition that would need to be set up, but it's just not like, hey, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put it behind the drywall. Like this shit's exposed. Why? It's crazy looking when you look at the inside of a building that's actually dropped. And we've actually seen one, live drop here in Greenville. It's amazing, but to have that much demolition, that much done. I think the one building, the way it fell, that wasn't hit, was it Building 7. That one's a little suspect.
That one's because, like I said, it was far enough away to where it shouldn't have dropped. And I don't know. I've heard, engineers talk about how it fell and it was completely normal. But then on the flip side of that, I saw, the people that said, the same engineer or, another engineer saying, there's no way it could have happened. So,
right.
It was too far away. What was in Building 7? Why'd they have to bring that down? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that one's just the one, like you said, planes hit the trade center and two towers, and we've seen them fall. That's a fact. That's undeniable. And we know what planes they were. We did that. I don't think that they were black ops planes with whatever, bullshit. But that 7 World Trade Center was one that was a little, that one raised my eyebrow. That would be something you gotta understand how much damage was done to it and where the damage was done that would cause that to collapse, which it was close enough where some of that debris flew into it. I understand that. I mean, but still, it was definitely one that raises your eyebrows. But
and I know I've told the story years ago. I worked with a guy, him and his buddies, night surfing on Venice Beach. Young punks at the time, come across a guy they thought was homeless, kind of messing around with the guy a little bit, and he was Arab, and he had said, oh, you Americans, you'll pay, just watch, it's coming soon, and then like a week later, he was one of the pilots that trained at Venice Airport.
Oh, really?
Down over, and I forget the kid's name I worked with, but I remember the FBI showing up at work. I worked for Walmart at the time. I was their service manager in the Tire Lube Express. He was one of my tire techs, and the FBI yoked him out of there, and he felt guilt for a long time that he never said anything. But at that, but back then, it wasn't like nowadays. It's here's something, say something.
Yeah,
here's something, say. That wasn't a thing pre 9/11. It was just some drunk guy on the beach, at night, spouting off some stuff. Who are you going to tell? You're going to call the FBI every time you heard some guy, death to America, this and that. But yeah, he was one of the ones that flew the plane into the
wow
into the trade
I
trade
remember
center.
telling that story before.
Yeah, I thought I told that years ago, but yeah, and it was he was he had to have therapy. He was pretty racked with guilt over that for a long time. And but yeah, it's but then it's like the terrorists that they never wanted it. They took the because we have like Venice, one of the best training where you train to be a pilot in the country. One of the best flight schools in the country is here. It's like they didn't want to know how to land. They didn't want to know how to take all they wanted to do was learn how to fly a plane after it was already in the air. That's all they wanted to know. And it's just like, even then you're thinking, man, a bunch of foreigners, don't want to use that term, in a bad light, but a lot of people that just want to learn how to fly a plane. I don't know. In hindsight, as a Monday morning quarterback, I can say, oh, I'd have said something, but now we would.
Yeah. Now, I mean, that was there's a lot of red flags, but like you said, back then, was it really something that was that crazily, out of context, or was it out of the ordinary?
Yeah.
Or was it just, something that just was like, yeah, it was really weird. I had someone today, they didn't care about landing. Oh, okay, let's go grab a beer,
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, like you wouldn't believe the amount of engineering is to demo a building. I watched a whole special, and it was actually a series on a family, little mom and pop family, and that's what they do. They travel the world, demoing buildings, bringing them down, and it's like a year. Like when they want to bring a building down, it's like a year of them going in, getting the plans, and then it's pulling down the drywall and everything around the support beams, and these shape charges, and like I said, it takes a year,
it's a lot
to bring down like nothing as big as the Trade Center. We're talking about like hotels in Vegas, hotels around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Things are maybe half the size of the Trade Center. So yeah, if you wanted to bring those down, and I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, we had one in Greenville. This was years ago. It was I can't remember what it was. I'd have to have Jennifer remind me of it, but it was we stood far away from it, and we watched it drop, and you could hear the boom, 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 which everyone said you could hear too on 9/11. But I mean, got a lot of shit going on then.
Yeah, I know.
But to watch that building drop was pretty impressive. But they had been talking about it for, like you said, it was like they were talking about it for a while, and the date that it was going to happen, and that's why everybody knew about it, because it was nothing that was like, you're not going to be able to go in there and be like, hey, I need this building demolished. Okay, you know what? Give me and my guys, about a day. We're going to unpack the pickup truck and just that doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no.
Because one mistake, especially with how they're dropping it straight down, one flaw, one mistake in where the charges are, that building's going to topple the wrong way, or shit's going to go flying in one direction.
And you've seen those videos where like something does go wrong, like a set of charges don't go off, and it tips over, and then it takes out some stuff it's not supposed to take out.
100%. Yeah, it's definitely crazy. So yeah, I think there are some oddities about 9/11. I think all the it's like as soon as you have some oddities, then people will take it in different directions. 100%. I mean, listen, you've seen the pilots that were dispatched. It was like I was dispatched, in my jet. I had no weapons. Well, what were you do? We were ordered to take. If we got to take the plane out, we'll have to take the plane out. They would have to freaking ram their jets into the freaking plane.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy shit, man.
Crazy shit.
I remember that day. I was at an airport.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were flying to Vegas, and that was back when you do curbside, your luggage, curbside check-in.
Oh yeah.
And we rolled up, gave we were checking. I hate flying, and we were handing our stuff, and the guy said, "Yeah, a plane hit the World Trade Center." I'm like, "Dude, you just don't announce that shit. Like that's pretty fucking freaky." So we walked in, and I was sitting at the bar. I had a Bloody Mary and a beer, and I was sitting there drinking it, and we were getting ready to leave. And my buddy's like, "Hey, our flight's getting ready to leave." And right when he said that, the second plane hit on TV. And he's like, "We got to go." I'm like, "I'm going fucking nowhere, bro. Are you kidding me?" So he dragged me. We went to the plane. We got on our plane. We started taxiing down the runway. They stopped. And the pilot's like, "Hey, in light of what's going on, we've been asked to hold on for a minute." And a lady got on the phone in front of us. She said, "A plane just flew into the Pentagon." And the pilot goes, "Hey, we're going back to the gate. Stand by. We're going to let you know what's going to happen. How long we're going to be delayed." And we got back. My buddy and I got in the car and just freaking took off. And I was getting phone calls from my family because our flight was going from Harrisburg to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh to Vegas. And the announcement came out that a flight went down outside of Pittsburgh. So my phone's blowing up, his phone's blowing up. And this was, we didn't have smartphones back then, but still. And we're driving around, our cell service sucked. We're driving around. And that was just that was a real freaky day. And we had a lot of folks that were stranded all throughout the country who made an earlier flight. So I had two of my friends that were in Chicago for a week. They were stuck in Chicago for a week. And in the company, I worked for a pharmaceutical company at the time, they had to be paid for their hotel accommodations. And finally, they couldn't get any rental cars, couldn't get anything. I got a phone call from him. He goes, "Hey," he goes, "we finally got a freaking train ticket. We're going to take a train from Chicago back to Harrisburg. Can you pick us up at the train station?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." There was a guy who actually made it to Vegas the day before, and he was supposed to be getting married. And him and a bunch of other bunch of people rented a freaking Winnebago and just drove back to the Northeast. But because they were able to get one pretty quickly. But at that time, so many people were stranded, no rental cars, no nothing.
Yeah, I know two of my friends were working at Sun Hydraulics at the time. That's because President Bush was here in Sarasota at the elementary school, and they worked directly across the street from the airport. So, I mean, you just look out the window and there's the airport. I used to watch planes all the time. And I remember them telling me, when Air Force One took off, they didn't know a plane could go vertical, like straight up. It's what it was.
Yeah.
Like it took off and then it just went. It wasn't a gradual.
Yeah.
It was straight, like almost like a rocket. It was straight up out of and they said it was insane watching that take off.
Eastern Pennsylvania. Where in Eastern Pennsylvania from the lower side? What are you down in South Philly? Southeast Philly? Before we sign off, there's a new show on Netflix. It's called, or HBO. It's called Task, and I think it's on HBO. You got to check it out. It's Mark Ruffalo's in it, and
I've been watching like the little clips from that.
Yeah, it's really good, and the one girl who's in it, the one thing, Maple Grove and Shady Maple Grove Speedway. It's a great drag strip. And Shady Maple's a great freaking all you can eat.
I was waiting for you to say it because we talked about it. So Shady Maple.
Ooh, Shady Maple. That's back in the day, man. But Task, it's in Philadelphia area, right? South, and the dialect coach did a great job. Like normally when you see these, movies is in Boston, everybody kind of has a Boston accent.
Yeah.
But you see New York, Philly, they got their Philadelphia accents. They got that Delco accent perfect. For the first 2 episodes we were watching, I was telling Jennifer, I'm like, this is like everybody on the show. Boom, boom, boom. It's not like one person has the great accent and everybody else's sucks. Everybody on that show just has a perfect accent. I mean, they did a great job. And they interviewed the girl, and they're like, "What's the necklace?" She's like, "Oh, this is a necklace I got from our dialect coach." She's like, "She's freaking awesome." they're like, yeah, you guys really got that accent down pretty well. So for the longest time, I got a little, I had to get over the whole. I was completely amazed that they got that whole Philly accent down. But it's a great show, man. It really is.
I can't wait. They announced the reboot of Scrubs, so that I'm excited for that. So
it's pretty funny. That's a great show. Zinc. Yeah, he's that's definitely that Philly accent. Oh my gosh.
All right. So on that note, remember next Monday night, no show. I'll try and post a link of I don't know where we're going live with Miguel, but we'll be back here next Wednesday night instead of next Monday night. So
I will be watching and supporting you, Kevin.
I definitely appreciate that.
I always do.
So, all right, everybody. We'll see everybody next week.
We'll see you guys.
Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. Yes, Kevin and her. Grab your seat, light it up, let's unwind.